Hi guys, another helpful video in how to quote Disneyland Resort. So we're going to go right over here to our drop down and select Disneyland Resort. You'll see here that this is for if you were doing Good Neighbor for Walt Disney World, and this is also for Good Neighbors for Disneyland. If you're doing one of the main Disneyland Resort hotels, you would just go here. They're going to go May 3rd to the 7th. 2 adults, 2 children, do 10 6-year-old again. And they haven't decided on a hotel. I wanted to make sure to show you that because you can actually still go and jump over to the Good Neighbors. Unlike World, you have to pick Good Neighbor to quote Good Neighbor. But Land, once you're here, you can see or browse our Good Neighbor hotels. So right here, you're going to see the basic pricing. An important note about Paradise Pier at the time of making this video is it is being refurbished and becoming the Pixar Hotel. So just keep that in mind. That is under a refurbishment. This one is like their moderate level. This is deluxe, and then this is like super deluxe. So that is the 3 resorts that you can pick on Disneyland property. Some people will ask, well, what's the benefit? A big benefit that Disneyland just reinstated is the 30-minute early entry, and why that's a huge benefit for Land, even more so than it is for World, is you cannot book Genie Plus at Disneyland until you are actually in the park. So you have to be physically have scanned your ticket and entered into a park in some way, shape, or form to be able to book that first Genie Plus. So all of the on-site guests are getting 30-minute earlier access to Disney Genie Plus. That's a big deal. And it's also the same, I think it's the same with their virtual queues. That I'd have to double check on, but having just been there, I can tell you for sure that it is, you have to be in the park to be able to get that first Genie Plus. So it is a huge benefit that is not something that we have at World. And I think it's because there's just only the 3 hotels. So that is something to really consider when you're trying to get a client to maybe stay at Paradise Pier or Disneyland Hotel, or even California Adventure if it's in their budget. When you're trying to tell them, you know, what is the benefit? This is a big one. If they're doing the Genie Plus, that's a big one. We'll do the Disneyland Hotel. I'm quoting. And then it's going to go over here. Now they are building there right now, and they're building the new vacation club property. So your guests might see that. Now, here's something interesting. I just stayed at Disneyland Hotel, and I was in a standard view room, and my room outlooked the parking lot. Yes, the front parking lot. But it also had a view over the trees. You couldn't actually see much but the very tip of the Matterhorn, but I could see the fireworks from my room. I posted pictures. If you go on my Facebook page, you can see, but it was really awesome. I love the Disneyland Hotel. It's a great location. It's one of my favorite spots to send people when they're going to go to Disneyland if it's in their budget. So we're going to just go ahead with this standard view. And then the next thing you'll be able to do here is ticket options. So this client would like to do 3 days at the park. They want a park hop, which I always recommend at Disneyland Park because the parks are literally right next to each other. If you have never been, it's hard to explain how close they are. But like I say to people, you're not even going through security. Once you're into downtown Disney, you're in a secured area. So you can just walk from one park to the other. It's kind of like if you've been to Universal Orlando, same thing. Once you're in City Walk, you're in there and you don't have to do anything. Disneyland is set up very simple. Similarly, with Disneyland Park being directly across from Disney's California Adventure. And I kind of equate it to being in the World Showcase of Epcot and walking to the front of the front of Epcot. They're changing the name. I want to say Future World, but that's not what they're going to call it anymore. So going from the World Showcase to World Neighborhoods, all the way to the front, like to Spaceship Earth, that would be a bigger walk than walking from parts of Disneyland Park to parts of Disney's California Adventure Park. So they're very close. So a park hopper, if you're trying to tell a client about it, it's kind of like one big park. So I think it's a must have. And then I also really think Disney Genie Plus is a must have, especially for on-site guests that are getting that extra 30-minute perk. So we'll go ahead and click done. Then we can go ahead and send them the quote, pricing, etc. You can do the print copy for my client and send it to them that way, as I showed you with the World one. They don't do the compare here, so just keep that in mind. You can add ground transfers for them. It will definitely, an Uber from LAX to Disneyland is about 45 minutes, and it can really range in price depending on traffic. So a shuttle service might be the best option for them. So we're going to go ahead and put that on there. And you can pick if they're going into LAX, Long Beach, or Orange County Airport, and that could change the pricing. But we're just going to say they're flying into LAX because that's the one that's the most common. John Wayne SNA Airport is very close, like 20 minutes. So if that works for your client, that's a great place to have them fly into, and you can tell them about that. Again, you can add travel protection in advance if you wanted. Now, if you have to send the client the quote, type this out, send it to them, let them know all their pricing. If they're ready to go, you hit continue, and it'll be, you'll get to the checkout screen. Again, you'll see the commission is listed. We're going to go ahead and hit continue. You can do a hold with Disneyland, just like World, but there's a couple differences when doing your Disneyland checkout that I wanted to make sure to point out to you. Oh my gosh, their website today. Okay, so you're going to enter in all their names and information, their payment information, or if they're holding it. Now, this part, number 3, it is very important that you're using the email address that they use for their Disney account. This is going to be where everything is linked. If you don't use the right email address, they won't have the e-key. It can mess up their tickets. There can be so many issues. So you really want to make sure when you're booking, you tell them this needs to be the email that you give me needs to be the email that is linked to your Disney account. That's something that's very different from World. Then if you were just doing the hold, you go ahead and hit I've read and agree and purchase. And that is how you quote and book a Disneyland trip. Please reach out with any questions.